Guys, so first lecture for the school community, I want to talk about the three main pillars that we have for Jackson Fitness. This is for all of you, regardless of whether you're trying to lose fat, build muscle, run a ultra marathon, run your first 5K, doesn't matter. These are non-negotiable standards and habits that we are all trying to build and ultimately maintain. But I want to start with a quote from James Clear, who is the author of Atomic Habits. He says that in life, we do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our standards, of our habits. Now, what does this mean? We can have the biggest goal to lose 100 pounds or 50 kilos or to run a 100-mile ultramarathon. That will be our success to achieve that goal will be dictated by our habits, by the things we do consistently. Are the things that I'm doing on a daily basis, is the way I'm living my life contributing to this goal of me losing the weight, losing the body fat? Are the things I'm doing now, is the way I'm taking care of my body contributing to me building muscle or ultimately running this race and getting to the finish line? If it's not, then we have to deconstruct, we have to backtrack from our goal down to our habits, right? We have to establish some floors. We have to establish the baseline behaviors. So in this program, you guys have maybe noticed that we do not complicate things too much, right? We follow three pillars and we aim to execute them every single week. Okay, so ultimately we're trying to build structure. We're trying to build habits. That takes time. But I want you guys to get to a place where you're not even thinking about these things. They're just a part of your routine. Even in my own personal life, I still track protein, but I've gotten to a point where I can eyeball certain meals or I can mentally track how many grams I'm at for the day. But there are still days where I'm uploading to my app, to MyFitnessPal, how many grams of protein just to make sure. Okay, so it's not like you achieve this habit and then you forget about it. You are consistently and constantly adding and practicing and building. Okay, so James Clear, Atomic Habits, excellent book. If you haven't already read it, changed my life, got me out of a weird mental state that I was in, and it just, I don't know if you guys have this same thing, but this all or nothing mentality when it's like, okay, I'm either going to go all the way or I'm not going to do it at all. What that book allowed me to realize is that there are certain baby steps you can take to achieving this big goal. You don't have to do, right? You're not going to build all the muscle. You're not going to get the physique tomorrow or even next week. You're not going to lose the weight tomorrow or next week. But you can build incrementally towards that. And understanding that we have to take these bite-sized chunks out of progress towards the things that we're working on is really important in the grand scheme of things. Because it's easy to get overwhelmed by like this goal that I have and these habits that I want to be a part of my daily routine. It's kind of like in ultra marathoning and running. If you've ever run a long distance race, you can't start a marathon by thinking about 42 kilometers or 26 miles away from you, the finish line. You have to break it up, whether you break it up into thirds, whether you break it up into the aid stations. What works best for me is just focusing on getting to the next aid station. Okay, so what are the aid stations in your life? What are the things that you need to focus on right now, not the big overarching goal? So keep that in mind as you're thinking about these things, as you're going through this process, and understand that it is not the level of our goals that is important. It is the level of our habits, of our standards, the way we live every single day, the choices that we make on a daily basis that dictate where we're going to go and what we're going to look like and how strong or fast or how resilient we're going to be in the future. We have to become that person now, be to the best of our ability that person now in order to become them in the future. Easier said than done. Higher Up Wellness, Michael Smoke, he's got a good quote that it isn't easy, but it is simple. Don't overcomplicate it. And that's what we're going to try to do here with these three pillars that you guys are already aware of, with the things, the habits that we want to have on a daily and weekly basis. All right, to get into it, I've got my notes down here. If I'm looking down, that's why. So the first one that we have is our 3 times per week minimum strength training sessions. Now, this doesn't matter what format, whether it's a 3 full body strength training session, whether it's push-pull legs, upper, lower, full body. If you're doing more than 3, you can have the bro split, shoulders, chest, back, arms. It really doesn't matter. We're not at bodybuilder level, Arnold Schwarzenegger level for this to really matter. Okay, so what matters most is the consistency of these things. I would much rather you train for 6 months or even a year consistently 3 times per week than go for 3 months, go all out and go 6 times a week and then fall off because you burned out. Because you didn't actually build a sustainable habit. You just had a bunch of motivation and you paid for the gym 3 months in advance and you went 6 days a week and then the habit fell off because you weren't actually atomic habits. You weren't building things up incrementally. Okay, so we're trying to build baseline behaviors. 3 hours out of the week is sustainable. You can find 3 hours to go to the gym, get a workout in, train with intensity, but do that consistently. Okay, reasons why we need to train. We got to build muscle. The more muscle you have, the more your body will burn at rest, right? It's going to increase your metabolic rate, how much your body just burns calories. I'm burning calories while I'm sitting here. Okay, I'm moving my arms. Simultaneously, I'm digesting food. That requires calories, right? My organs, they're functioning. They're doing their job. That is burning calories. The more muscle we have, the more our body burns at rest. Okay, muscle by nature, it requires energy. It takes energy. Fat stores it. Okay, it's like kinetic and potential energy. The muscle is the kinetic energy, meaning in motion, being used at the moment. The fat is the potential. It stores the energy for when it's necessary. We also need to increase our strength. So we need to be stronger individuals. Whether you're helping your friend or family take a couch up the stairs, whether you're lugging around suitcases in an airport, carrying a baby, your baby, who's ever baby, carrying a bike up a hill, like whatever it is, you have to build muscle. We have to do this to not only improve our posture, but also prevent injury. Okay, the more muscle we have, when you put your body under stress, say for example, my mom, she had a really good example. There was one day she was just in the house and she tripped over the chair, the sofa, and she caught herself in a deep lunge position. She would not have been able to catch herself in that position had she not been training lunges in the gym, right? She's like 58. That would have been, for a lot of women her age, a life-altering injury. But she caught herself because she had been training consistently 2 to 3 times per week in the gym, building up strength, building up the resilience of her connective tissue, of her ligaments and tendons, which would have been likely an injury in that case to the knee or to the hip. But that didn't happen, thankfully. So that's an example of why we need to build muscle to not only improve our posture, right? That we train our upper back muscles to improve our posture. We train our core muscles to support our low back so that we can prevent low back pain and so that we can prevent injury. All right. Second pillar, second non-negotiable is 10,000 steps per day. Now, this is as physical as it is mental. We'll start with the physical. So we need to walk every day. 10,000 steps is just a number, okay? But it's roughly an hour to an hour and a half, depending on whether you're walking, running, or jogging. But we need to move because we need to burn calories, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Now, this is not the only reason. This is just a kind of side reason to why we're doing steps. So don't think that you have to just walk to burn fat. No, walking does require calories, and we are breathing when we're walking. And when we lose body fat, it leaves our body through our breath. So we have to move. We have to increase our heart rate, increase our breathing rate to burn fat, while also being in a calorie deficit. So it's a two-parter. It's not just walking. If you're still eating more than you're burning, it's not going to work. But we want to move so that we increase our caloric expenditure. That is not the only reason. Second reason is we want to promote recovery. especially after a leg day. Most of you guys have experienced this. After a brutal leg day, or say you had a few exercises in the gym that really challenged your legs, the next day or even the following day, that leg soreness hits different. It's brutal. Getting up and down off the toilet, brutal. Walking down a flight of stairs, brutal. Walking helps promote recovery, right? If muscles, when they contract in and out like this. After a leg day, the reason we're experiencing soreness is because the muscles, they're stuck in this contracted position. That's why stretching helps, but ultimately we have to move. Okay, so side note, one of the best recovery strategies for leg day is the day after hitting a Stairmaster, because you're going to get a lot of flexion and extension, a lot of contracting of the leg muscles. And on the mental side, we need to get out and we need to move, right? Even just, we spend so much time inside nowadays in the modern world and in front of our screens. Like, there's almost no reason to go outside to leave your house. You can just have everything you need, especially if you work from home. You can just have everything you need at your disposal. So getting outside, it just gets us out into the world, into nature. You can go out and meditate. You can go have a nice walk with your friend, walk with your family, go walk your dog. Like, it really just, it improves our overall mood, okay? And on the other note, it is oftentimes something you don't want to do. Okay, so in an effort to become somebody that is stronger, faster, more resilient, lighter if you're trying to lose weight, that's going to require you to do things that are not what you're doing now, that are out of the ordinary. Well, walking is one of those non-negotiables, one of those baseline Atomic Habits, James Clear, baseline level habits that we have to maintain for physical reasons and for mental reasons. And the last pillar number 3, is protein. Okay, this is one of the most challenging components for everybody I've worked with, right? It's always, how do I get more protein? How do I get more protein? And what I find is once people have tracked it long enough, it starts to get easier. But you have to be detailed. You have to be rigorous with your tracking, especially at the beginning. Even if you've been doing this for 2 years, if you've slacked off, treat it like it's the beginning, because protein will make or break your progress, especially if you're trying to lose fat and build muscle. Okay? Say you're trying to lose fat and you're not getting protein. Your body doesn't know whether it's going into a famine, whether you're going into war, whether you're living in the forest, right? From an evolutionary standpoint, your body is in survival mode. So it is going to retain, remember the potential energy of fat, it is going to retain as much energy as possible in the form of fat. So if you're losing weight, if you're in a major calorie deficit, say 500 to 1,000 calories, and you're not hitting your protein, guess what the first thing that's going to go is going to be? The muscle, not the fat. So you may lose 10 pounds, but that's not going to be, it will be, some of it will be fat, but that's not going to be the body composition that you're trying to achieve. You're trying to build muscle and lose fat. In the absence of protein, that process will not occur. Okay, so we need protein to build and maintain muscle mass. Say you're trying to build muscle, say you're trying to bulk up to, add 5 or 10 pounds of lean mass, which is a slow process. If you're not getting the protein, 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight, or 2.2 grams per 1 gram per pound of body weight, or 2.2 grams per kilo of body weight. If you're not getting that, what's happening is when you go into the gym, you're breaking down your muscles. What protein, more specifically amino acids, do, that proteins are comprised of amino acids, is those come in and build the muscle back up stronger. Okay, we're simplifying this process majorly. But in the absence of protein, more specifically amino acids, that process cannot take place as effectively and efficiently as possible. So you're leaving gains on the table. You may be training with intensity and pushing to failure and doing even more than I've asked you in the Trainerize program. But if you're not hitting your protein, you're leaving gains, you're leaving progress on the table. All right. So it doesn't matter if you're trying to build muscle, lose body fat, or do both at the same time, or even run an ultra marathon. You're breaking down muscle as you're running. So you need protein to help build that muscle back up, regardless of the fact that the goal with the running isn't to build muscle, it's to build endurance, cardiovascular capabilities, but still you need to repair the damaged tissue. That's what protein and the amino acids do. All right, so those are the three pillars. Those are the non-negotiable standards and habits. Thank you for watching this video. Looking forward to the next one. We'll see ya.